Ronald Vandenhoff es el CEO de Seeds2Meet.com y el cofundador de CDEF, un holding de empresas que desarrollan el movimiento de la sociedad 3.0 y promueven la idea de compartir espacios y conocimientos. Hola Ronald, John me pasó tu contacto y dijo que podíamos hablar contigo sobre Seeds2Meet y algunas otras cosas.
¿Cuál es tu visión de una sociedad 3.0? ¿Cómo funcionaría y cuáles fueran sus beneficios y sus retos?
Well, to begin with, I think that in these times it's something like a transitional period. We're moving from one system, the industrial era, and we're moving into something new. And that's something new. I've called that Society 3.0, but you can call that the digital society or the information society or whatever. And that transition period in which we are moving from the old system to the new, that has been going on now already for about 15 years, and it will take another 10 to 15 years to reach its conclusion. So the challenge here is for everybody is how do you make that transformation from the old to the new? And how do we make sure that everybody still can keep on participating and join in the fun, basically? And how do we create new economic value with all the new technologies around us? And that's the biggest challenge there is. To begin with, people have to know and to realize what's going on. Secondly, they have to see if they can create their own vision. What's their role going to be in that new future, and what can they participate, and what are their specific talents, they can use to add and make the transition period as quickly as possible and successful also for themselves. And how do we change the establishment? Because a lot of laws and a lot of traditional organizations, they do not want to change. They want to keep everything as it is. And they may, so you see a lot of conflicts also. That's the downside of these developments. But on the other hand, you can say that the change will be there. So how do you move along with that flow, with that new flow of energy and opportunities there are? And how do we learn to collaborate with each other in a new way, basically?
¿Qué es Seeds2Meet? ¿Cómo es este modelo diferente de los otros modelos de coworking de los cuales hemos escuchado?
I said we are in a transitional period, and we saw as an organization, because we have been in the meeting industry already for 20 or 30 years, so we saw a change in the markets. And we see that there's a rise of what we call the independent worker, the co-worker, a person who works for more than one company or who is working on various projects at the same time. On the other hand, we see that corporations are looking for the connection with those people. So we figured out that we had to form something like a platform, physically and virtually, where the old and the new can meet together. And we call that formula Seeds2Meet. So Seeds2Meet is partly a co-working center, it's partly a meeting center, it's partly an incubation space, it's partly an office center. So basically those are old terms, and we blurred them and mixed them together in one new concept called Seeds2Meet.com.
Seeds2Meet.com es una plataforma virtual para reservar espacios de coworking en distintos países donde el sitio tiene su sede.
En el calendario escoges la fecha en la que necesitas utilizar un espacio de trabajo, ya sea uno gratuito, una sala de reuniones o un escritorio permanente.
La filosofía de Seeds2Meet se basa en que, por utilizar un espacio con internet y café, no abonas dinero, sino que compartes tu capital social, o sea, tu contacto como un profesional más en la red de Seeds2Meet.
Esto se traduce en una amplia red de personas que se conectan para trabajar colaborativamente en nuevos proyectos.
And the key thing here is that we also found a new business model in which we combine what we call social capital and traditional capital. So if you want to come in and co-work at this location and in all the Seeds2Meet locations, you don't have to pay in traditional currency, but you pay as an independent worker, as a nomad, as we call them. You pay by your knowledge, the sharing of your knowledge. So the only thing what we're asking from you is book your seat and tell the network who you are and what knowledge you can share, you have to share. So that's one hand, that's the co-workers. On the other hand, we see then that corporations, they start to book meeting rooms because they want to meet up with those co-workers. And they book the meeting rooms, they book it very traditional for traditional currencies. So in that way, we have two streams. We have one stream of the independent co-worker, all those specialists and experts who tell the network who they are and when they are here and what knowledge they have to share. And on the other hand, we have the traditional organizations booking meeting rooms, and then we make them to meet each other once they're here. And then, of course, you will see all kinds of new collaboration arising. So new companies are being formed, people get jobs, and people get assignments, people start to collaborate together and start new ventures. And all of a sudden, then, you know, there's a lot of economic activity growing, and there's an extra need then again for meeting rooms again and office spaces and things like that. So then you get like a circular movement. So the more successful, let's say, the social element of the business becomes, the higher the need for paid services becomes. And the more paid services, the more money we make, the more we can again then give to the social stream and allow more people in, not paying traditional currencies. So we found a new balance really between the old and the new. And it's very much sustainable. We're doing this since 2007 already. So it's not like a hype. It's not something, you know, which will not be there tomorrow. Oh, the idea started already in 2000. And then we saw the changing in the markets and everything. And we did a lot of experiments, and most of those experiments failed completely. We were far too early. And in 2007, the internet became more social, and you had more independent workers, and you had more connections, possibilities like Facebook and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, it was a changed world. So we did it again under the name of Seeds to Meet. And for the second time, it worked out perfectly. And we're still growing. We have over 75 locations at this moment in 8 countries already.
¿Cómo Seeds to Meet valora el trabajo en comunidad o en red? ¿Tienes algún tipo de ejemplos que nos pudieras dar?
Well, free is an old term. You know, I mean, it means giving away stuff. And if you give something away, it's gone, it's over. You know, we share stuff, and we strongly believe in reciprocity. So I do something for you, and you do something for the network. And if the network becomes better and stronger, it does something for me too. So we strongly believe in you can share a lot, but that doesn't necessarily that it's free. I mean, you don't ask for money, for instance, but you ask for people to share their knowledge. You ask for people to collaborate. You ask for people, you know, that's also a form of payment. Social capital is as important as traditional capital. However, in our traditional economic systems, you know, we forgot about social capital, and it's all about the gross national product and the figures. And I mean, let's not forget that basically a science like economics used to be a social science, but all of a sudden it looks like it's only mathematics or something like that. So we have to get back to the traditional sense of the word economics, and that means you can collaborate much better. So I strongly believe in sharing, not necessarily being free. You can give something, but then you also get always something back. But you don't know what you are getting back and from whom and at what time. So we call that asynchronous reciprocity. And if people move around in the ecosystem of Seeds to Meet, within a month, 1 out of 6 either starts a new company or gets a new job or gets a new assignment.
¿Crees que este modelo de coworking podría funcionar en cualquier parte del mundo, especialmente por las diferencias culturales?
I think it will work in every location, in every country. If you put groups of people together, they can share abundance. And the internet is abundance sharing much more easier and feasible than in the old days. I mean, a cooperative as a form of economic value creation always has been there, but it always has been limited to one particular physical space. And the internet is connecting physical spaces to each other. So the opportunities are getting bigger, I guess. Especially in countries where you have a lot of unemployment in the traditional economy. I think the new sharing economy and the new possibilities there are to create economic value. I mean, that's the only way out of this crisis, I think. It's really towards Society 3.0. And we have to come up with all new kind of products and new kind of services. And innovation only takes place in, let's say, in details in small communities and where creative people meet up and they have unexpected relevant meeting with other people, you know, and you never know what's coming out of that. And if I look at the numbers over here, and the number of new ventures which have been arising, and not all of them, again, have to do with making money. There's a lot of good projects being developed over here and collaboration started. Yeah, I think it's a possibility for basically every country in this world, as long as you have, and that's the only condition, internet connection. Well, most, you know, and the internet connection, and I mean, a lot of people are connected to the internet and a lot of people are not yet connected to the internet. But companies like Google are working on it. So I think that the opportunities only will getting bigger and bigger. In any country. But the key thing is to get started. And a lot of people, if you start to do something new, your cadre of reference, that your context is always traditional. So we always think, I'm going to start a place, I need money to pay the rent. No, you need space. You know, you don't need money. So you have to find a person or an institution which can share their abundance of space. You know, and in every traditional corporation, they have a lobby. In every hotel, there's a lobby. In every municipality, in every library, there's an abundance of space. And we think of co-working, we need a dedicated building and we call it a co-working center. No, you need space, you know, and that space can be at the library and the next day it can be at your local school or your local town hall. And the internet is connecting all those places together. And then all of a sudden you don't need money to get started. And then all of a sudden you're in business. And it was only done through social capital because people start to share things.
¿Podrías darnos un tour de las oficinas de Seats to Meet?
Sería increíble.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Hello, how are you?
So this is where you come in.
Hello, I'm Klaas from reception. Nice to meet you.
And Klaas is a nomad as well. And every now and then he is also officially working here. And after you've met Klaas, we go to what we call the serendipity machine. And the serendipity machine basically shows you who is here and what knowledge is available at this location at this moment. So you can see who is actually now here and what knowledge they have to share. So you can make contacts. And obviously we have mobile versions and you can use it on your laptop and everything. And the system also is matching up people. There's virtual intelligence behind it. So you can exactly see what their capabilities are. And then we move around and I will show you. This is the co-working space we have. This is the place where the co-workers are working at this moment. So let me walk around slowly. So these people are paying by social capital, showing the network who they are and what knowledge they have to share. We have a
Google Hangout Studio.
We have a small Google Hangout studio. And the equipment, again, you don't need money, was sponsored by Google. So all the people actively in the Seats to Meet network can use the Google Hangout studio to make videos and do webinars and stuff like that.
Kind of drone with its jumping. Little bits, kind of Lego with electronica for kids. Wi-Fi lights. It's behind you, but it's a color. This is a EEG brain scanner.
But the key thing here is that officially, I mean, our co-workers did it. So as an organization, we have no involvement. We don't have to give them staff or anything. we just share the abundance, and this is an activity they started themselves. So it's creating added value for everybody in the process. So we move around here then. You see more workers. This is the largest room we have, the largest conference room. And we used it for a lot of meetups. You see some more workers over here. And this gentleman is called Frank, and Frank is the initiator and the owner of Frank Watching, which is one of the largest blogs in the Netherlands. And they don't have an office anymore. Every now and then they want to have a team meetup, and obviously they come to Seats to Meet, and they use us as their temporary office and connect with the network and stuff like that. So this is a meeting room called The Living. So we have various rooms for various purposes and various atmospheres. And depending where you work on, obviously you need a different environment. So this is more like a living room. And moving around, you will find people working everywhere over here. See, if you look closely, you see that every organization has a lot of abundance in space. And this is another meeting room. We call it the big room. We have 20 different meeting rooms. This is a smaller room. And you don't sit here, but you almost stand when you're attending your meeting. And it has a nice Chinese vase over there. So we have 20 meeting rooms in total. And in square meters, we have over 2,000 square meters. I guess this wraps it up.
Realmente hemos aprendido muchísimo con esta conversación el día de hoy.
My pleasure. And the next time, whenever you're in Holland or one of the countries Seats to Meet is active in, feel free to visit us. And on the other hand, you can also check out our website. And by the way, if you want to participate in the Seats to Meet system, we have a special website, and it's called myownseats2meet.com. And if you go there, you can see what it takes for you to participate in the Seats to Meet system. And I thank you for the opportunity. And I'm looking forward to start Seats to Meet in your country.
Sigamos en contacto.
Claro que sí. Chao.
Chao.
Bye bye.